change of... What is he doing? Oh, nice. All right, change of scenery. I'm actually dog sitting. So I decided that this was a nice area, and I'm hoping that all the outdoor noise and the birds chirping won't get picked up by the mic. So we're gonna try it. Do you want to be in it, Mav? Okay. So anyway, I'm doing the mid-year freak out book tag, and I've got my handy dandy little spread out here that I haven't wrote anything in. So we're gonna have to come back to that.
A few moments later.
All right, let's try this again. Now that I've actually filled the answers out, I was really overzealous that time. I guess I got just too excited to record said video. Anyway, and I had to go inside or come inside because it's now like sun's not in the right spot. Anyway, so now that I've actually put the answers in here, I actually have all of the answers to my mid-year freak out book tag. And for once, I actually had completed enough. Mav, leave the camera alone. Anyway, I've actually read enough books finally for the midpoint of the year to actually have enough books, like one to answer every question. Unfortunately, the questions don't curate for me to use one book per answer, so there's that. But at least I freaking answered it this time and didn't just come in here all willy-nilly with a blank page. Anyway, so we've got 14 questions to get to, and I guess I need to get them started. As I was saying, I am in a different spot because I am dog sitting, and so I'm in the dog owner's house, who's going to watch this video and 110% comment, and that's fine. That's fine. So, question number 1 is, what is the best book that you have read so far? And I have none of my books with me, so they'll be on the screen somewhere along with the questions. But what is the best book you've read so far? And I only rated 1 5 stars, so that was pretty easy in terms of how to answer it, because I've only rated 1 5 stars, and that was The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. I should have read this book when I first bought it, probably over 10 years ago, if it wasn't 10 years. So it marinated for a while. And I devoured it, first of all. So let's just acknowledge that this book sat on my shelf for 10 years waiting to be devoured. Anyway, the important part is that I finally got to it. So I finally got to it, and could it have been shorter? Yes. Because it really set up everything for the rest of the series. And I don't, how should I explain it? Mara's friends, tragically pass away, and she has no idea what happened. Like, she doesn't understand how it happened, etc. So she moves from New York, I think, down to Florida. Is it Florida? I think it was Florida. I just read this book. I'm not speaking too confidently. But anyway, she moves to Florida and changes schools, and the whole family's uprooted, and odd things start happening around her, without giving too much away. And she meets a mysterious, of course, because this was written over 10 years ago. She meets a mysterious guy at school that's from, I think, Britain. He's from Britain, so he's got an accent, and he's instantly attracted to her, and she's kind of curious about him, but doesn't really want to get involved because obviously she's heard things. But anyway, it just takes off from there, and it's a lot of setup, and I personally ate it up. I think it was a little slow. But it could have been shorter, but overall, I ate it up. And for once in my life, I was behaved, and I had only bought the first book in the series when I purchased that book 10 plus years ago. So now I'm currently waiting on the other books in the series to come in the mail so that I can finish the other books in said series. Since I, for once in my life, was behaved, and I don't have the second book or third book to said series. So, moving on. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel that you have read this year? And while I have not read a sequel this year, I have, I'm currently in the middle of one. And so I have to, by force, vote that as the best sequel of the year. And I will say it has started off a lot different than book 1. And you're getting the points of views of all these other people. And it took over 100 pages to actually get the main character from book 1's point of view, which was kind of a cool concept. I don't think I've experienced that before, which comes up later in this questionnaire. So by force of hand, the best sequel is The Damned by Renee Audier. It's the second book in the Beautiful quartet, and I read The Beautiful about 2 years ago, so I was a little rusty, but it didn't take much for everything to come back because it starts immediately after the events of book 1. So, and I remembered a lot of details of book 1, so that's why I didn't go read it before starting this one. So there's that. Obviously, I can't delve into it too much without spoilers because it does literally pick up at the ending of book 1. New releases you haven't read yet but want to. Side note, I also do not own this book, but it is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. That's the only new release that I could think of during this questionnaire because, I had to put the answers on here first because I got overzealous. But anyway, that's the only, anticipated read that I have, that's new. I don't think anything else has come out. Well, there's actually The Perfect Divorce. I'll take that back. I don't know when it came out. It was probably last year. I don't know, but I don't own that book yet either, but I read The Perfect Marriage and I want to read The Perfect Divorce, but my copy's in paperback. It just came out in hardback. I just feel like it's stupid to spend hardback money on a book I'm going to read for a book club, I mean, maybe that's bold to say, but I don't have it. I don't have it in me to spend hardback money on this book. I just don't have it in me. So I'm waiting on it to go on sale somewhere so that I can buy it and read it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year, which I covered with the previous question, is I don't know what's coming out. Honestly, I haven't kept up with it. I didn't look. And this all kind of answers question 3 and 4, but if I kept up with it, I would spend more money than I need to spend. So I don't keep up with it, and that's fine with me. I follow select authors on social media anyway, so I do keep up with select ones, but I don't keep up with new releases, honestly. I'm really bad at that. And anyway, moving on to number 5, and I do have this book here with me. I don't know why I brought it with me, but I did, because I'd already finished it. But it is, what is the biggest disappointment this year? And I just bought this. I just bought this at Target. I just bought it. I blacked out. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I just bought it. And I haven't actually done a recent reads that has this book in it yet. So I'll try to keep this short for when that video comes up. But anyway, the biggest disappointment I had was Pen Pal by JT. Geisinger. I think it's Gessinger. Anyway, I don't know what I thought this book was going to be, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I think that's a major part of the problem. Obviously, I thought it was going to be a little spicy. I thought it was going to be a little smutty, whatever. It's marketed completely wrong, I think. Because the back of the book focuses on these letters that, what is this woman's name? I don't even remember her name because this book was so stupid. Momentary pause. Hold on. What is her name? Her name's Kayla. So Kayla's husband has died, and right after his funeral, letters start arriving to her house per the synopsis on the back. And the synopsis on the back made this sound like she had a stalker or something. I don't know. That's what I got out of it, was that it was going to focus more on the letters in this book, and it didn't. The letters were not even important. I don't know why that was on the back of the book. The back of the book literally says it was signed, the letter was signed by Dante, a man I didn't know. And we went back and forth exchanging letters every week that grew increasingly more intimate. No, they didn't. And then one day the letter stopped. When I found out why, it was already too late. Dante was on my doorstep. That literally never happened. That never happened in this book. Honestly, this book was marketed as like a dark romance. I don't know, paranormal romance. I don't know what it was marketed as, but it was none of the above. It was not a single thing that was on the back of that book happened, or was important rather, because there was like 6 letters spread out through the entire book. 6. And this book takes course over what seems like a few months and multiple weeks, at minimum like 2-3 months. And there's not anything, like 75% of the book was not even relevant to the story. It was quite literally cheap smut. That was 75% of the book is what that was. The last 25% was actually good. I'm just roasting the hell out of this book, and I was trying to keep it all in, and I can't. Anyway, 75% of the book was not even relevant. It was smut. That's all it was, with no reasoning. I mean, we got to have a backstory, Jesus. But anyway, the last 25% was actually relevant. It was actually, what the story was about. And it ended. And it was a pretty good ending, quite honestly. But the book was stupid. Like, anyway. So, biggest disappointment. I got off on a tangent. I'm sorry. I need a moment. I can't. But it made me so mad. And I devoured it too, because it was a page turner. I'll give it that. So that's part of why it got whatever star rating it got. I think I've got it here in my handy dandy reading journal. Hold on. I'm not over it actually. It was 2.5 stars. It was heading towards 2, and then the ending was good, so it got 5.5 stars. And you know what? Maybe that 0.5 stars was generous. I don't know, but publicly 2.5 stars. Moving on. Question number 6 is, what is the biggest surprise this year? And I've got 2 answers down for this, because I didn't want to narrow it down to just one, especially one that I'd already talked about on this list. But the biggest surprise was Mara Dyer, because it was a YA, or it is a YA. It's a young adult. It'd been on my shelf for 10 years. I should have read it 10 years ago, but I didn't. I never got around to it. And so I expected it to be, a little too young, a little too immature for me. But it wasn't. It was really good. So I rated it 5 stars. I devoured it, loved it. That was that. And then the other biggest surprise was The Perfect Marriage, because I did mention in one of my previous videos that I did join a book club, and it was the first book club book. I don't even know who chose that. what member of our book club chose that book. But I can tell you that I just expected it to be like, I don't know, one of those like TikTok thrillers that really wasn't that good and everybody's just talking it up and they're really just lying to you because whatever reason. The TikTok books. Anyway, that's what I kind of expected out of it. And it wasn't. It was really good. It was wild, to be honest. I definitely read that in like 2 days. It was also page turner. It was paced really good. Like I was surprised. Point blank. Like it deserved the hype that it got. Moving on, question number 7 is, who is your favorite new author, debut or new to you? And I didn't have any repeat authors this year that I know of, but I did read one at the end of last year and then the beginning of this year, so I read them really close together, and I enjoyed both books. It's Megan Miranda. I own quite a few of her books. I just have not read them for some reason. So why I was buying them, don't ask me. But I've enjoyed 2 of her books back to back. I have a book laid out that I did bring with me that I plan to read here pretty soon. That's also a Megan Miranda. So I don't have a time frame on when to get to that one. I just eventually want to read it pretty soon. That does not spoil any of the next questions. So there's that. Question number 8 is, who is your newest fictional crush? And that's a hard answer because most of the books I've read this year, people have been killing each other. So a lot of that blurred line between horror and thriller is kind of hard. So, and obviously the romance I read wasn't that good. So I have to go with Noah Shaw from The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer, which is the love interest, the mysterious guy at school. I'm not sure what he's considered in book 1 because he's definitely very obviously the love interest / the mysterious guy at school that she doesn't really want anything to do with. But anyway, there's that. I thought he was funny personally, so there's that. Following up, question number 9 is newest favorite character, and once again, primarily what I've read this year has been thrillers / horrors, so it's kind of hard to choose a favorite character when they're probably killing each other. So I know that one was hard. I left that one blank. Because I feel like I've liked majority of the main characters that I've read this year. So I don't necessarily have a favorite. That's hard. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. And if you're new here, hi. If you're not, I think I've already discussed this in a recent reads for this year. But that was Animal Farm. I listened to the audio on the way to a trip, on the road trip to a vacation. And first of all, I'm mad at everyone, teachers included. 1, that we didn't read this in school, but 2, nobody ever told me that book was sad. Like, I was always kind of told that it was funny. It was about animals, taking over the farm, basically, doing the thing, whatever. I did not know that book was sad. Nobody told me that book was sad, and I was fighting for my life in that back seat. But anyway, Animal Farm by George Orwell made me cry this year. Following up with number 11 is a book that made you happy. And while I've already talked about the books that shocked me and that I rated 5 stars, once again, it's hard to say that the books that I've been reading this year would necessarily make one happy. So I had to go with one of the other romances that I read this year, which was Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, which was also on my shelf for almost 10 years. Ridiculous. And I finally got around to it. It's written primarily in the form of emails, and it was really cute. So I talking about it, I'm smiling. So I'm gonna go. I had to go with Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. Made me happy. we're almost at the end. Question number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you've bought? And I know that I've said this for the last 3 questions, but it's really hard to say that the books I've bought recently are beautiful when many of them are of the spookier genre. And I haven't bought anything with sprayed edges. I haven't done any of that. So I haven't bought a pretty one that I know of. I mean, I did buy a sprayed edge book at Goodwill, but I don't remember what it was. But I did buy a romance, and it's got a cute cover, and it is Happy Place by Emily Henry. So there's that. So I have to honorably mention Emily Henry's Happy Place because nothing that I've bought comes to mind that just stands out. And number 13, books that you need to get to by the end of the year. I've got quite a few on this list, and I don't know if I'm going to make it to them. I feel like this list is overzealous. But currently, I'm working my way through rereading some of the earlier series books by Cassandra Clare because I never finished The Mortal Instruments or The Infernal Devices. So currently, I am rereading Clockwork Angel. And hoping to move forward to Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Princess, to start the reread on The Mortal Instruments, which, City of Bones, City of Ashes, etc., etc. So I've been working my way through those. I also bought some LC Silver, and I just feel like I need to get to those because I've bought 2. So... also, the Bromance Book Club has been sitting beside my bed for almost a year and a half. So, definitely need to get to that one. Is there anything else beside my bed that I can think of? I don't think so. But I do have to read the book club books for the book club that I joined. And one of the next ones I have to read because I've already read 2. I've already read July's book and August's book because I was feeling it. But I have to read the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I also had to order that recently because I thought I owned it and I didn't. Watch somebody that's actually been watching my videos tell me that I hauled that in like 2022. But anyway, that's not important. But I do have to read that one for September. And the last question is best book to movie adaptation. And I also have not watched anything this year that I can think of. I did watch Nosferatu, but I think that was strictly just a remake of a silent film. So, but it is strongly based on, influenced, copycatted, similar off Dracula. So I mean, there's that. But I have never read Dracula. But one that I need to get to because I did listen to the audiobook recently and I really liked it. Is Sharp Objects. So I am considering watching that one, but I haven't watched it yet. So, and to be honest, I think that's the only one that I have read that has been turned into a movie or a show. Of course, I would yawn at the very last question. Well, I'm also currently rewatching True Blood. I'm actually almost done with season 2, which I don't remember ever making it this far in season 2. I thought I had made it to season 3 or 4 the first time that I watched it. But currently, Sookie and Bill are in Dallas, and I don't remember any of that. So there's that. So I haven't watched anything. And with that is the mid-year freakout book tag. I'll see you in another video, which most likely will be a recent reads because I've read quite a few things since the previous recent reads. So I'll see you next time back at my house, back in my normal setting. And maybe I'll actually, know what I'm going to talk about when I hit record the first time. So